The following is an encore presentation of stories from the Dooralong Transformation Centre. Joining in the studio this morning from the Dooralong Transformation Centre by Kirsty. Good morning to you, Kirsty.
Good morning.
Yeah, and how are you today?
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Good. That's what we like to hear. Now, look, it's slightly different this morning. Usually we speak to some of the guys and girls who are going through the programme down at Dooralong, but today we're speaking to Kirsty, who's helping the guys and the girls down there, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Before we get on to that, and we've mentioned once or twice that it's equine therapy, but before we get to that sort of side of things, just tell us a little bit about yourself, Kirsty. Where you from this area? Where your local church is? What about you? Tell us about you.
I've been a coastie for about 3 years now.
Yeah.
And a Christian only a little over that, so I'm pretty new to everything, and I attend EV at Erina.
Okay.
Yes. And before that I lived in Newcastle. Before that I lived in Cairns, and before that I lived in Colchester in England.
You've been around a bit, I think it's true to say, isn't it? Yeah. Cairns would be nice.
Oh, beautiful. I miss it a lot.
You miss it a lot? Miss the hot weather?
Yes.
And the lifestyle there?
There's no winter up there.
There's no winter up there.
No.
I quite like winter, you know. But then I'm English, so I mean, you'd expect me to say that. So you've been down here for 3 years?
Yes.
You're settled now on the coast?
Oh, I'd say so, yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, we're glad that you are. It's nice to have you. And Dooralong. You're working now at Dooralong, and you have been for how many months?
I think it's coming up on about 9 months.
Yeah. And look, let's just dive straight in. Equine therapy. I'm sure there are people out there that didn't even know that equine therapy existed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I believe any interaction with any animal can be therapeutic in nature, and I think if you think to your family pet or whatever, you would have to agree with that. But this model of therapy just uses horses.
Yeah. Have you always been an animal person or a particular horse person?
Through and through.
Through and through?
Absolutely, yes.
When were you first introduced to horses?
Horses. Wow. I first started riding when I was about 7.
Oh, very young.
But if there was ever an animal on the street or somebody riding a horse around and I happened to be anywhere near them, I'd be tugging on their pants asking for a ride or a pat of their dog. So they've had a special sort of place in your heart for a long time? Yes. Something that's just always been there for sure.
Yeah. Have you always worked with horses then?
Yeah, I'd have to say so. Yeah, definitely, my whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into this a bit. I think most people out there would have heard of pet therapy and pet therapy dogs that go into hospitals and things, but you can hardly take the horse into a hospital, or probably can't take it into any of the rooms at Dooralong either.
No.
So how does it work?
Okay, so we have a space which may be a large paddock or a round yard, and we put between 1 to 5 free-ranging horses in that space with some obstacles, maybe some barrels, pool noodles.
Okay.
You could throw an office chair in there if you wanted to, anything you want to put in the space.
Yeah.
And the participants come in and they meet the horses and they start to, I guess they make their own decisions about the horses, and they start to mirror, how would I put it? They see the horses' communication and mirror that back to themselves in their own lives.
So they sort of transfer some of their own stuff onto the horses, or?
Yeah. It's a little bit hard to explain sometimes because it's so different for everybody.
Yeah.
So somebody might come in and
say it's me. I've just gone into this field with the horses, and I'm just going up to the horses. I think I probably would, and just start chatting to the horse, telling me he's a good-looking fella, and you know how calm he looks and how nice he is, and and I might say something like, you know, why aren't you talking to the other horses and things like this.
Yeah. So when you come back, so I invite everybody to go out first and meet the horses, introduce themselves. There's always a reason why we approach the first horse that we approach. So some people might go up to the small horse first. Somebody might go up to the spotty horse first. And they come back and we break that down. You know, why did you go to that horse first? And they start to talk about why. So if somebody maybe went to the little horse, they might have reasons for that. It might have reminded them of their little brother, or they might feel intimidated by the bigger horses, or they might have thought that little horse was being left out and they wanted to comfort the little horse. So it starts to tell us a lot about the way that they are in the world.
So if I went, and I think I probably would, to the horse that was on its own and didn't seem to be with the rest of the group, that would... Look, I'm getting therapy now. That would tell you something about me, would it?
Yeah, so there's no right or wrong answers, and however you interpret what the horses do is the right answer for you.
And these horses, are they specially chosen, or do you just grab 3 horses from a local paddock and put them in there?
As an equine specialist, it's in my best interest to have horses that are generally calm in nature.
Yeah.
So Danny from Dooralong Transformation Centre and I have picked horses there that are nice and calm. But in saying that, they still respond to people very much in the moment, and if something's going on with some of the participants that doesn't make the horse feel safe, it will act like a horse, and that is to either fight or flight, you know?
Yeah, horses get spooked by sort of, very strange things at times.
Yeah, they're the ultimate... they really survey their surroundings. They've been a prey animal for a long time, so they're very, very good at picking up small changes in their environment and reacting to that. So you might have 3 seemingly very calm horses, and somebody may come into their space and something big's going on for that person, and the horses will be completely different.
And can the horses pick up what's happening for these people? Can horses sort of read people in some way?
Most certainly, but not in the way that we probably think they do. We may come in stressed because we've had an argument with somebody. The horse doesn't know we've had an argument with somebody. They're just picking up on our stress cues. So they're reading our body language. We may be sweating, our heart may be racing. They're picking up on that. So they're picking up on all the subconscious things and reacting to that.
And they adjust their behaviour, do they, to sort of to accommodate us in some way, or to sort of do they adjust their behaviour, the horses?
Their primary focus is to keep themselves safe.
Right.
So they'll only be in a situation that they feel safe to be in.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if I go in there all agitated and angry, they're going to back off, aren't they?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yep, they're very different with everybody.
So you get the guys, and girls, you take them to the paddock and they interact with the horses for a little while, and then you talked about coming back and debriefing and talking about things. What happens there?
Okay, so we've gone out, we've introduced ourselves to the horses, we've come back with our own ideas about the horses. Maybe we've given the horses names. I don't generally tell the participants the horses' names. We start to talk about the issues that people are bringing up. So quite a lot at Dooralong, people come back and they do bring up boundaries, trust issues. The horse let me approach it because it trusted me, because I was moving slowly and calmly. So they start to pick up on all of these themes, and we discuss those. Then I generally set up an activity. So it may be that I've put an obstacle out in the space. It might just be a barrel or something. And I ask the participants together to move the horse over the obstacle. This is just an example, but they're not allowed to talk to each other, and they're not allowed to touch the horse.
Right, so we've got horses there, we've got an obstacle, we've got to get the horse over the obstacle, but I can't talk to any of the guys in the paddock, and they can't talk to me, and we can't touch the horse.
Yes.
But the horse has still got to get over this obstacle.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct. So it falls back on how they communicate with people in the world then. And taking words away from people is quite a powerful thing. They have to really think outside the box and use their body language. Most of our communication really is body language. The words do get very much in the way. So
this is the therapy side of it, really, isn't it?
It is, and it's a lot of fun. It can be a lot of frustration for some people as well, though. And I don't think people really know what's going on until they come back and they process it all and see what worked and what didn't work, what they can change about their behaviour to make it work.
And you facilitate that, you help that sort of process for them?
Yes. So I have a horse background, not a psychology background. So my answers don't count for anything. It's all about what the participants come up with in that moment, okay? So they might have decided that one person in the group was being too full on and the horse just kept running away. So they might go back and work out how to gel a little better and move calmly as a group and get the horse over the jump, because the horse needs to feel confident, otherwise it's not going to cooperate.
The learning process.
Complete learning process. Changes people's pattern of behaviour just through these activities.
And you will have seen that.
Yes.
And perhaps later on, and we'll break for some music shortly, but it would be nice to hear some examples of the before and after and some of the experiences that the guys have had there.
For sure.
Look, this is really fascinating. I find it really amazing. And we're back. We're back talking to Kirsty, who's equine therapist at Dooralong Transformation Centre. And we were just talking while that music was playing, Kirsty, about how people react to horses. And you were saying that one of the things is lots of the people there, lots of the participants, lots of people want to control the horses in some way, dominate the horse.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that surprises me a little. I wonder why that surprises me. I would have thought they would just come in and just sort of be with the horses, but there are a lot of control issues, are there, for some of the guys?
For sure. Yeah. Okay, so having had a lot of addiction in my past life, whether it be family and friends, I've been affected quite deeply by addiction, and I think there's always a want to control what's going on for you. So in my own circumstances, addiction is one of those control issues.
Yes.
So it's no surprise to me that people come in and want to be in control of something, especially if they're feeling threatened or scared, or they're in a situation they don't know how to cope with.
That makes sense. It's clear talking to you that you haven't just stumbled into this and thought, oh, I'll sort of do a bit of work with horses and sort of psychoanalyze guys. You've had proper training at this, haven't you?
Yes, although I don't have a psychology background, so I can't psychoanalyze anybody. I think working with horses for such a long time has definitely given me a keen sense for people, but my thoughts stay well out of the sessions.
So where do you get trained? Is there a college?
Well, there's a gala, so that I'm trained in the Agala model, so that's the Equine Assisted Growth and Learning Association, and they have a worldwide model of equine therapy. Okay.
So this is an international thing.
Yes,
this is
worldwide.
really an eye-opener for me.
I didn't actually realise they had existed, but I was looking back on my life and just trying to figure out what it was about horses that had helped me through so very much. And a few of my friends, one in particular, just said, there's something in this. There's something about them. And I just went, yeah, there is. I looking back, I can see how God's just used them continuously to bring me back to Him, and to hold a big mirror up to myself and just see the way that I'm acting within my life. So I started digging a little deeper and doing some research, and I found a gala. So it's been a long process just getting to this point. But I really
they have a branch in Sydney, do they, or something like that?
Okay, so they've got facilitators that basically travel the world and put on, you do like a stage 1 and a stage 2 and then an advanced stage, and they travel to, my first training was in Byron Bay for a week.
Oh, nice.
Second was in Bargo in Sydney. They just travel around and hold these training weeks. And
so anyone that's thinking of doing it needs to get properly trained first, don't they?
I would say so, Any interaction with a horse can be therapeutic in nature, but this model works really, really well. So let's get back to the sort of therapeutic work that you do down there in Dooralong. I mentioned pet therapy dogs earlier, and I mentioned pet therapy dogs because I have a friend who had a pet therapy dog, and she would take it to mental patients. And she said that she would find the patients there talking and saying more and being more honest to the dog than they would be to their psychiatrist. Do you find that as well? Yeah, that's one of the main things the participants actually do speak about. They speak about all the things that they like about the horses because they aren't like people. And I, in some stages of my life, I would have to agree with them very much so on that. And you find some really tough people with very hard hearts becoming very soft. Is that right? And starting to maybe let people back into their lives again, or look at situations where they haven't maybe acted the way they should have. Because horses aren't judging them, and they come with no preconceived ideas or anything like that. They're masters of living in the moment, and that's what we struggle with. We look to the past, we look to the future, we get anxiety, and we have trauma from the past, and we can't just live in the moment. And that's one of the things that I really enjoy setting up as an activity, with being in the moment with the horse. It's very hard. There's a lot of distractions. Somebody might lean over the fence in one of our sessions and try to distract the participants, and it's up to them whether they listen to that person or stay with the horse in the moment and train themselves to be more focused.
I asked earlier about some sort of stories that you have. Are there any stories that really stick in your mind where you think, wow, that's amazing?
Do you know, every time I leave Dooralong, I come home to my husband and talk his ears off because the most miraculous things have occurred to people themselves. So we believe that everybody has their own answers already. Okay, so this is just a platform for them to find them. And I mean, there's been so many times. I did have a session where we had quite an aggressive situation between two horses, and I had to move everybody out of the space. They didn't realise that it wasn't a good space to be in. I just quickly moved everybody out of there. The ground was quite muddy, and there was a horse being chased around and bitten, and all the rest of it was quite... they said it was very distressing to watch. Okay, so got everybody out of the yard, and we observed. Okay, so I can't let my knowledge interfere. I have to come up with a learning moment, basically, for the participants. And I said, okay, guys, what are we going to do? And one person in particular just said, that horse that's being chased around is me.
Wow.
I want to take the aggressive horse out of this situation. Okay? So I went in then and did what they wanted to do. It was safer for me to go in and catch the horse and take that horse out. And we moved that horse far away. And they said that had basically broken a lifelong pattern for them. They would usually just stay in that situation. So they had removed the aggressor from that situation and gained back some power. Even though it's just horses in a paddock, we're still bringing it back to our own lives and our own patterns of behaviour that we might be stuck in, and we're given an opportunity to do something different.
So next time they're faced in their own lives with a situation and an aggressor in their own life, they may hopefully have learned something or react a little differently next time.
Yeah, the brain reacts to those things. So sometimes it doesn't realise whether that's actually happening or not. So we're still teaching it something. Yeah.
Sounds as if you get as much out of this as the guys.
I try not to.
I can tell you're really, your eyes are burning with sort of, well, not pride, but sort of interest in the subject. So you must get as much out of it as they do.
I do. I'm still on this lovely planet because of horses, I'm sure. Well, because of God, of course. He's kept them in my life to keep bringing me back to Him. But the learning, if you let it happen, it's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. These animals just pick up on the subconscious and bring it to your attention, and it's really not pretty, and it's not fun, and it's not it's not comfortable sometimes to see.
What do you mean by that? By saying it's not pretty and it's not fun, it's not comfortable? What do you mean by it's challenging in some way? It's hard.
Yeah, because we're coming up with our own reasons for why the horses are being that way. For instance, if I go in to work with a horse and I'm in a rotten mood, or I've had a bad week, frustrated, or I've got anger issues or something like that, my horses generally don't work very well for me, and then I get more frustrated.
Vicious circle.
They're just a mirror. They're completely reacting to me, and I need to step back out of that situation and go, okay, it's me. I need to calm down. I need to focus myself, take myself out of the situation if I need to, and practice those things. And when I go back out into the world where there's people that are frustrating me, I can take myself out of that situation and practice those things.
So it's like any area where we want to grow, where we want to have growth. It's hard work sometimes. We learn things which, can be hard to put into practice.
Absolutely. And I had an autistic kid, beautiful, I was teaching horse riding lessons to. Okay, so my therapy is non-horsemanship based, but I have a background as a horse riding instructor. He's having a lot of issues with confidence. So I pulled him off the horse and I said, right, what we're going to do is we're going to build the horse a confidence building obstacle course. So he went out and he set up all of these pool noodles and barrels and flags and everything, and he coaxed the horse through this course and then came back and told me why the horse was so confident, okay? Because he talked in a soothing manner, because he was there next to the horse. He gave me all of the answers that I needed to then teach him how to ride with confidence.
So, he thought he was helping the horse, but you could see ways in which he could help himself.
Yeah, they were his own methods for being confident.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. That's really quite clever, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to break for some music in a little while, and then we'll come back and talk about your walk with God and how God put Dooralong on your heart, and and we'll find out what it was that prompted you to do this work at Dooralong. But before we do that, there might be some people thinking, horses, do we get to ride them? Can we sort of, and other people think, oh, no, I could never ride a horse. But it's not like that, is it?
Well, it's a non-horse riding activity.
At non-horse riding.
Yeah, Danny does have horse riding as an activity at Dooralong, which is how I actually get some of the participants interested in our group. But what I'm doing out there is absolutely on the ground, no horse riding involved. Yeah, no knowledge required.
And how popular has it been?
Oh, it's actually grown tremendously since the beginning.
Oh, good.
However, I'm just about to go on maternity leave.
I can see that.
I'll be back. I'll be back in January.
Yeah. So you must be really pleased.
Absolutely, very, very pleased. Yes.
We're going to talk a little bit more about Kirsty and the way that God has laid this on her heart. How on earth did you find out about Dooralong?
Well, after moving to the Central Coast, I was listening to Rima Central Coast.
Of course. Doesn't everybody?
And I've always been a sucker for a story.
Yeah.
So I did 13 years of Catholic schooling, and unfortunately I couldn't have told you a thing about the Bible after that. But I do remember the man who came in and told us about his life story and how he read his Bible in jail and became a Christian, and now he goes around to schools telling people. It was amazing. I love a story. Okay, so hearing the Dooralong stories, it was just earth-shattering. They just have such amazing stories.
They do.
And so that's how I found out. And it turns out my sister-in-law and my husband too know Craig and Danny, so they gave me Craig's number, and I rang just to see if there was anything I could maybe do there with the horses.
Yeah, Craig's a manager at Dooralong.
Yeah, and Danny's his beautiful wife.
Yes.
And I basically went in and met Danny and met their horses, and it basically just went from there.
It was meant to be, do you think?
For sure. Yes.
Yeah. And it's been confirmed with the success and the way it's just taken off there.
Yeah. I think as long as I keep showing up where I think God wants me to be, I will meet the people that I need to meet and do whatever it is that I need to do.
Yeah. Have you always been working with horses, or have you had a previous career?
I've always had horses in my life. Yeah. I've been a full-time musician for about 6 to 7 years.
Yeah. Well, that's a form of therapy, isn't it? Music.
Yeah, I really burnt myself out on that one, though.
Yeah.
I quit last November, so it got a little bit too much, and I decided to embark on my journey full-time with the therapy. Yeah. So, but yes, horses have always been in my life.
And how often do you go to Dooralong?
At the moment, I'm ready to have a baby at any minute. So.
But is it a weekly program?
Oh, yes. So on a Thursday, we do a recovery enhancement group.
Yeah. And how many participants do you usually have down there?
As many as we can get. So sometimes we may have one person.
Yeah.
I think we've had up to 8 before.
Yeah.
But there's scope for as many people to be there as
you're not going to turn anybody away.
Absolutely not.
No. And male and female, is it equally sort of attractive to to both the guys and the girls down there?
It seems to be. We do get a lot of guys coming through.
Yeah.
But we've had a lot of women as well.
Yeah. Well, look, Kirsty, it's been absolutely fascinating talking to you and learning about this thing of I don't know. Do I call it horse therapy or equine therapy? What's the go?
You can call it either. I think if you say horse therapy, more people will know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And the name, you've got a great name for this, beginning with a G.
Grace.
Grace.
Yes.
What does Grace stand for?
Well, it's basically a reflection of God's grace that He's given to me. So I feel like I'm witnessing grace every time I run one of these sessions, because the horses meet you where you are. Yeah. They don't know and they don't care about where you've been, what you've done. They don't listen to anybody who gossips about you. They're very much in the moment with you right then, and they only care about your next move, whether they're safe with you.
Yeah. They accept you as long as you
They accept you. Yeah, and it's really beautiful to see that in action. So.
Yeah. And we all know that God can use people as vessels of His grace. Dare I say that there's no reason why he shouldn't use horses as vessels of his grace.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Kirsty, for doing that. We wish you well, and we wish you and your husband and the soon-to-be family well, because you're off on maternity leave now, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah. So we just pray God's blessing on you, and that he will keep you and the baby safe during the next few months, and then hopefully further down the track you'll be able to come back and tell us more about what's going on down at Dooralong. That would be terrific.
Thanks for having me.
It's been our pleasure. You've been listening to an encore presentation of the Dooralong stories, which can be heard live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. and repeated at 8 p.m. Sunday and 1 a.m. Wednesday, right here on 94.9 rema.cc.